All right, Candle Range Trader back with another video, just going over a quick lesson on NR7 and NR4 breakouts and fair value gaps. So very simple process. Some people call it a break and retest. I'm not doing anything new on this channel. It's just a way to relay the information to you in a way that hopefully makes sense. So in that regard, let's get to it. The only indicators you really need for this are the NR7 and NR4 indicator by Lux Algo and fair value gaps by Nephew Sam. That's what I do. So it's a very simple process. All you do is wait for a range to fire. This is an NR4 range right here, which means this is the narrowest candle over the last 4 days. You wait for a breakout, and you also trade a break. You trade the fair value gaps that develop that happen after the breakout occurs. So in other words, once a 1 hour, this is all charts will be 1 hour. Once a 1 hour candle closes outside of the range, okay, and the breakout fires like right here, then you are free to trade and look for continuation to the upside. You're counting on these gaps and the momentum of these breakouts to carry forward. So in this case right here, just say you had one gap right here that fired. And the best fair value gap to trade is going to be the first gap that develops after the breakout. But you can also try to capitalize on some continuation gaps as well. There's no guarantee that they'll hold, but at the same time, if you want to try them and experiment with them, you definitely can. But in this case, off of this first gap, you can trade here. And let's see if that was a 50-50. Okay, yeah, so you could have got 50 pips there. A bit of a tight stop loss. So that would have been good for like a 1 to 3, 50 pips. That would have worked out right there. And you have another gap right here. And the idea is that as long as the gap is holding, then you can count on the trade being valid. Now, some people may wonder, well, should I trade while price is inside the gap, or should I trade while price is leaving the gap? That is completely up to you. I've seen it taught both ways. It's really up to you. I'm not going to tell you which way to do it. Some people will say, okay, well, this will be my entry right here once price has already left the gap, right? Some people will say, you know what? No, I want to trade down here while price is in the gap because it's already broken out. It's like a break and retest, like I said. So just expecting price to shoot out and expecting this gap to hold. So even though it may wick the gap, it doesn't close beneath it. But remember that once a 1 hour candle closes inside the gap, then structure is broken. You can just go ahead and exit the trade. So we're going to do a few examples on a random bars, and let's see what we can see. So we'll do replay, random bar, and let's see what we can find here. So great. So we have a short example here. Let's select the bar here, and we'll just do this like this. All right, so we have an NR4 range right here. Where's the breakout? That's the first question we have to ask ourselves. The breakout fired on this candle right here. Now, some people will just take the entry right here, which you can do. There's nothing wrong with that. At the same time, if you want to try to catch a retrace, if you miss this entry, you may wonder, okay, well, can I still capitalize on this? Remember that the goal is that you're expecting price to stay outside of the range. And it shouldn't take hours. I would only give each trade an hour or two to show profit because we're expecting a strong move to the downside. So an entry right here would have been fine. Okay, because price was, like I said, it was in the gap, right? And then tanked. So that entry, at least as of that last candle, was good for about 100. Nope. Yeah, right at about 100 pips or so. So that's fine. Just capitalizing off this gap right here. So remember, breakout first, and then you just try to catch a gap. That's it. So that's really all you're doing. It's really not hard. Let's see here. Let's go to another pair. Let's try pound New Zealand. We'll do another. I'm not sure why that's showing up. I'll tell you what, let's exit the replay. Reset things, and then do a random. There we go. All right. So let's see. So our first range. Now, some of these, I have my indicator set up whereby once the gap gets filled, it's going to disappear. So if I do the replay like this, now let's see what we can see. So we have a great NR7. This, yeah, if the box is yellow, that means it's an NR7, which means it's the narrowest candle out of the last 7 days. Okay, small range breakout. That's all you're looking for. And then, so you would have had some great trading opportunity off of this gap right here. Well, first off, though, where's the breakout? That's step number one. The breakout candle is right here. So now where's our gap? Our gap is right here. So, like I said, as long as the gap is holding, trade is valid. So you could have entered. It gave you plenty of time to get in. So, I mean, hours. Anywhere in there. If you want to, like I said, if you want to trade inside the gap, if you believe the breakout is solid, so be it. Let's see, and that would have been good for at least 576 pips from here to here. That's from Tuesday. Well, that's 5 o'clock. So let's go forward a little bit. Let's say about right here. If you'd have entered right here at 10 o'clock p.m. on September 4th, which is a Tuesday, your exit could have been Wednesday, and it went up, like I said, 500 pips. So this is the power, 550 pips. Okay, so that's the power of a breakout, right? So, but first, you need a narrow range breakout, and just look for a fair value gap, retrace. You're off to the races. If price closes below the gap, you just get out for a small loss. Look for the next one. No big deal. All right, so let's see. We'll exit that, and let's try to find another one. Now, okay, let me mention this. You will see gaps that are inside of a range like this. Me personally, I would not trade them. Why do I say that? Because I want to see price showing momentum to the outside, right? To the outside of the range. If it closes back inside the range, that's a negative sign to me. That's not conducive to breakout behavior. Okay, it needs to break out the range and stay out of the range. I don't care about these gaps. Gaps inside the range to me are pointless. I don't trade them. Okay, that's just me. All right, but you do whatever works for you. So let's try Euro Aussie. Replay. We'll do a random bar. Okay, so we have one here. So we have an NR7. Where's our breakout? The breakout is right here. The indicator will fire. Bang. Do we have any gaps now? Remember, the first gap that develops after the breakout. Okay, breakout first. Okay, here's the breakout. Here's the gap. So we had a great entry right here, short. Right there. Perfect entry would have been like right here. This is at 7 a.m. If you put the stop loss above the gap, that would have been about a 37, 38 pip stop loss. And price fell about 133 pips, good for about a 1 to 3. Maybe it dropped further. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just letting it play. Yeah, see. So take what you can get, because obviously price did come back. So you could have got that if nothing else. Okay. So it looks like we got another one right here. So let's let this play out a little bit. So we have a narrow range 7. We have a breakout. Let's just see if it works out or not. Yeah. So you see there? That was good for, if you wanted to take this wick off of the gap, price rose 234 pips. Now, this is a big gap, though, so that's what, like 100 pip stop loss. Some people will put their stop loss like right at the range top as well. So you kind of play it by ear. You manage risk dynamically, see what you can do. If you believe price is going to stay out of the range, you don't have to put your stop loss all the way below the gap. You can put it by the range. You can put it beneath the candle you entered on. You just, like, I try to keep the stop losses tight, because we're expecting breakouts at the end of the day. So, but that was that one. And let's try one more. Let's do one of our, let's try pound dollar. And we'll do a replay and find a random bar. Okay, perfect. Went right to one. Okay, so we got our narrow 7 breakout right here to the upside. So first off, we got a narrow range. What do we need to see next? We need to see a breakout. The breakout happened right here. Okay, so our first fair value gap after the breakout. Okay, so this is the candle after the breakout, was right in here. So a perfect entry would have been right in here. So because the breakout actually formed the gap, this would have been fine for an entry. But if there were any gaps like down here, like this gap right here, is pointless to me, because the narrow range happened here on Friday. This is the day of Friday. So going into Monday, right? This gap, I know it held up. I just want to see after this breakout occurs, okay, are there any gaps? Did the breakout make a gap? Anything like that? That's what I would take. So you could have entered here. Anywhere in here, you had about 4 or 5 hours to get in. And this thing just really ripped. Okay, this is why I like breakouts, because of price action like this. Narrow ranges can lead to big price moves. That's 134 pips to the upside from Monday through Tuesday. And that was actually Christmas. So, yeah. So let's try one more. and we'll be done. I think you got the point of this though. Too far back. Let's try another one. All right, so this is a good one because this one went both ways. So let's go here. Sometimes you'll see price will break out in both directions. So you probably saw a breakout. Yeah, you did, matter of fact. This broke out long. And yeah, we'll end on this one because this is a good one to see. There's something that's called an inverted fair value gap. That means this. Once a gap gets closed below, you can use that as a launch pad to take the other side. Instead of going long, you would go short. I'll show you how to do that. So let's just say you took this long. This is how you can turn a loser into a winner. So let's just say though you took a long right here expecting price to keep going up. Okay, so that's your entry right there. So it's like, okay, cool. I think I got a good one. Okay, it didn't. It went down instead, right? And it tanked. Instead of sitting aside and crying, what you can do is see if there's any inverse fair value gaps. So to do that, you'll go to the indicator and you'll go down to show IFVG. And you can unclick FVG just to make it cleaner like that. And it'll flip the colors for you. So this says, okay, this was a green gap, but now it's red, right? So ignore these other ones. You're only focused on the price action from your loss. Okay, so your loss was up here. You know, your loss is no big deal. So now you may say, okay, you can either, these are your options. You can anticipate a breakout to the downside and just go ahead and get in here, expecting this inverted fair value gaps to hold. Or you can just simply wait for price to break out of this range to the downside. Okay, so let me get rid of the inverted fair value gaps. Like so, there we go. And just look for a regular one. In other words, you're not worried about this inverted fair value gap or this, and this was about to be inverted as well. And just straight up take a bearish fair value gap. So this is the breakout right here. And this is the first fair value gap that formed after the breakout. So this could be an entry. Doesn't mean the gap's going to hold. But you go through it. Okay, so that gap didn't hold. You exit. So now we see what's next. That gap did hold. So a good entry would have been right in here while the price was in the gap at, what is that, 9 a.m. I don't know if this was news or what. But, you know, you just keep the losses small. If the gap disappears, it's no big deal. There's another one right here. And the reason why you stay short is because the breakout to the long failed. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay, this breakout here was a failure. And this gap right here is still holding. So you just try short. Obviously, but it's showing you very clearly, I don't want to go long today. The chart is screaming at you. Okay, for this day right here, I fooled everyone going long and took it short. I'm fooling everyone that's going long again, and I took it short again. All right, so that would have been your entry right there. So again, one more time, just to show you, don't let the losers, you know, bum you out. If you get, let's just say you took this short right here, and you put the stop loss, let's say right by the daily open. Take profit really doesn't matter because we know it's going to lose, right? This was a 22 pip stop loss. Okay, you lost 22 pips. All right, so now you got another gap right here. So next hour, you say, okay, price is in this gap right here. So you know what? I'll take it here. Remember, we just lost 22 pips. I'll take this one short at 9. And let's do like we'll put the stop loss, say, above this candle here for 33 pips. Okay, take profit. I'm just doing 100 randomly. Okay. And look at that. It hit in 1 hour and kept going. Right. So you lost 22 pips on the first short attempt, but you gained 108 on this one. See, the only way to recover from losses is you got to keep trading. Right? You have to have faith in your analysis, keep those losses small, but the big win, I promise, it's going to be right around the corner. Right? And I think, and it kept right on going. Look at that. If you didn't even set a take profit, it went almost 200 pips. Okay, that's why I like trading breakouts, narrow range breakouts. And if it doesn't break long, then are there any gaps to tell me it's going to break short? Yes. So just take it. Take the trade. Okay, do not be afraid. Take the trade. Put that on the t-shirt. Anyway, all right. So that's it. So like I said, experiment with that. See how it strikes you. I appreciate your time and attention. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.